Dello heavy-duty engine oils. Proven engine protection at prices you can rely on, giving you even more reasons to choose Dello. Today we're here to talk about some electric equipment, but this time is going to be a little different because I'm actually running it and we're going to do a review. We're talking about JCB's electric mini excavator, and we're going to do this review just a slight bit different than the ones we have in the past. The first part of this interview is actually going to be me walking around the machine with the product expert because I really wanted to capture some of the dialogue that happens before I actually enter and run the machine. And then from there, we'll move into our kind of standard equipment review. So all that being said, enjoy.
So 19C-1E, launched in 2019 for JCB. So it was the first electric mini excavator on the market. Real big thing about this machine is going to be no compromise from its diesel counterpart. So JCB designed it, we designed it so you get all the same performance that you would get out of the diesel machine, zero emissions, low noise package. So that's the real big thing there. So all the features that come along with that diesel machine, so 13 feet of dig depth, right at 9 feet of load over height, same machine footprint, so still a 1.9 ton mini excavator, compact size. So that's the real big thing going to the electric machine that we like to point out first, is that you're not losing anything by going to an electric package. You're really gaining that zero emission, low noise, and opening up doors for different applications.
Just out of curiosity, with the electric motors, are you guys able to actually get more power out of the machine? Or is your restriction the hydraulics really at that point?
Your tear out forces and all that's going to be right on par with the diesel machine. So right at 4,000 foot-pounds of tear out force on the bucket. What you will get is more responsiveness.
Yeah.
So where a diesel machine, you're having to spool that engine up, get that RPM to get the motor spinning, or the hydraulic pumps.
Yep.
With the electric, it's all proportional to that joystick.
Yeah.
So you will feel more responsiveness out of an electric machine.
And you've got auxiliary hydraulics on it, I see.
Yep. Got auxiliary hydraulics, so you can put a thumb on the front, you can put breakers on it. So that's a big one where you get some of these indoor applications where you're having to go excavate to get to utility work inside of a retail store, whatever it may be.
Yep.
So you can put a breaker, hydraulic attachments on the front.
Just out of curiosity, what's that do to your battery time?
So it will decrease your battery time running continuous flow on your hammers.
Is it pretty drastic?
It's not as drastic as you would think.
Okay.
So I'd say continuous, your runtime is going to go from a 5-hour continuous down to about a 3-hour continuous.
Oh, that's not horrible.
So big thing on our mini excavators as well is going to be what I'm holding here in my hand. So bronze graphite impregnated bushings, 500-hour greasing interval on the dig end of this machine.
So, wow. So that's literally graphite, just chunks of graphite in there?
And as it wears, obviously,
it's just sloughing off just a little bit.
And it mixes with the grease that's in the bushing. And
interesting.
So that's really big for the customer that's kind of on the go, or maybe some of these rental contractors, rental companies, where the machine may go out on an extended rental. Obviously, they're going to grease it when it leaves their facility, but who knows what the customer is going to do once it gets on the job site.
Never touch it with a grease gun.
Right, for the most part. But from a longevity standpoint, serviceability, 500-hour greasing. So that's a big one we like to harp on the dig into the machine.
Yeah. So that is every fitting out here on the arm.
Yep.
500 hours.
Entire dig in, 500-hour greasing interval. So.
But you can still grease it like you do a traditional machine. It's not going to hurt anything.
It's not going to hurt anything to grease it a little more, but.
And I'm assuming it's like any other situation when they get all womped out. Now instead of line boring, you're just popping bushings out, replacing bushings.
Change the bushing. Yeah. So.
Interesting.
On the dig in, 30mm pins for the attachment.
Okay.
This is pretty industry standard. So if customers using XYZ brand, same attachments are going to carry over to this machine. So inside here, we're going to have our charge controllers, obviously orange cabling, just like the EV world. So all your high voltage cabling is going to be identified with orange cabling.
Okay.
Hydraulic sight glass, all visible through this door here. Charge filters, all of those. And then our charge port. So this is going to be our standard charge port for using 110 or 220.
Okay.
So this is our 110 volt cable. All machines will come standard 110 volt cable. 220 cable is optional. You can order it with the machine.
Okay.
But everything comes standard 110. And it literally just plugs in there. You lock it down, plug that into any residential 110 volt outlet.
And it just automatically turns on.
And it's going to start charging. You do have a charge indicator. So if this was plugged in, there'd be a green flashing indicator right here.
Okay.
So light's going to flash green while we're charging. As soon as we get to our full charge, light's gonna go solid.
Okay.
If there's an error of some sort, so something on your house is messed up, we're not getting full power to this machine,
Yep.
light's gonna go red.
Okay.
Just let us know, hey, we've got an error here.
Yeah.
Something's going on. So, but pretty straightforward charging process where you just plug the machine in. You don't have to do anything exotic to charge it. Plug it in, it starts charging, and
Yeah.
when you're done, we remove the cable, put our cap back on, and we're good to go. We cannot run this machine tethered. So there are some electric products in the market that will run tethered. This one is not made to run tethered. We want it to be the same experience that you would have in a diesel machine.
Right. And this is lithium ion batteries?
Lithium ion. There are 4 cells in this machine, 4 individual packs.
Okay.
So 24 kilowatts of power. That is the same as the diesel engine.
Interesting.
So
okay.
Same.
If you do your
power,
horsepower conversion.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's identical to the diesel. It's obviously electric, so it's measured in kilowatts.
Yep.
But that's the same as the diesel engine.
Yeah. What is the weight comparison of this guy compared to the diesel counterpart?
Yeah, good question. So obviously it's mini excavator, large excavators are kind of rated in their overall tonnage. Same thing applies.
Okay.
So this machine is a 1.9 ton machine. Its diesel counterpart is a 1.9 ton machine. So weight
right there
is right on with its diesel counterpart, just because if it was heavier than diesel, we'd have to call this a 2 ton machine instead of a 1.9 ton machine.
So just out of curiosity, with the weight of battery packs and the electric motors and everything, are you guys finding that you actually have to use less counterweight because the machine itself is heavy, or is the counterweight roughly the same on them?
Counterweight's identical to its diesel counterpart. Yeah, so we'll kind of step around here and I'll show that off. So this is full rear counterweight.
Okay.
Same counterweights on the diesel machine.
Yep.
And it's really from removing the engine of this machine to putting in the batteries and the charge controllers and all of those things, we're right there neck and neck.
Yeah.
No need for additional counterweights or removing counterweights, putting smaller counterweights on it. So it's really a lot of thought went into it to keep it like for like with that diesel counterpart.
Yeah. Now here's a question. Out in the wild, just out of curiosity, how hard is it to find somebody that can work on one of these when you've got an issue? Because it's really easy to find a diesel tech, but we're kind of getting into electrician territory with the new machines.
All of our dealer sites are trained to work on the electric machines, but we're not seeing a lot of need for service in our machines. So, like I said, this machine launched in 2019. We're kind of 5 years into it, which is kind of where we start watching really close, saying, hey, what's the battery fall off doing those things? We don't have claims on replacing batteries at this time. So
that was my next question, is on the battery packs. I think that's a big, even on the EV market, that's the big question mark, is battery replacements. What is that going to look like? Have you guys started to see any of that?
That's what we're hoping to, we're watching it and kind of seeing where that goes. So our batteries do have a 5-year warranty.
Okay.
On the first machines, we're actually hitting that mark of 5 years. So we're monitoring it really closely, but we're not seeing big uptake in battery replacements on machines past that 5-year mark. Also being 4 individual packs. So all 4 batteries.
So you don't have to replace the whole shebang. It's literally one pack.
And you can see them somewhat right here. So you can see, that's a cell, that's a cell.
Yeah.
So it's individual packs.
Okay.
It'd be a rare occasion for all 4 of those packs to just fail at one point in time. So we're just monitoring now, since we've crossed that 5-year mark on the early machines, seeing what does this look like? Where does it go? So far seeing great results out of them. Machine's still running strong in the field. ARA 2023, we had our 1,000th machine there. At this point, we're at about 1,200 of these out in the wild. So pretty good sample size out in the field. And the ones we have seen that need replacements in the field are typically from operator
abuse.
So I was trying to think of a
kind way to put
polite word there. But yeah, we'll say abuse. I mean, because there is a kind of a recommended maintenance or operating procedure for the electric product. It is a little different than a diesel counterpart, where a diesel machine, you can run that thing till your fuel light's on. With these machines, you really don't want to deplete that battery all the way to zero. That's the real way to harm an electric vehicle, is by depleting the battery, and that's no different from electric vehicles and cars and same with construction equipment. You don't want to run that battery down. If I pull in the driveway every night and leave the headlights on my pickup truck, eventually
that battery's
going to take a beating. Same thing applies here. We have built safeguards into the machine to try to prevent some of that. So at 10%, this machine's going to start giving you an audible alarm saying, hey, something needs to happen. It'll also reduce power.
Oh, okay.
Once you get to 5%, you're going to go to an idle speed. you're going to have a constant audible alarm saying,
Okay.
I need to get to a charger. So we did try to build some safeguards in there to really keep that operator mindful of running that battery all the way down to 0, keeping that recommended charging procedure.
And operators always listen to alarms.
Yeah, always, always. So back here, obviously a lot of orange cabling, charge controllers back here. Battery isolator is another one. So this is something that JCB puts on every machine we have.
Yep.
You're gonna have a battery isolator is gonna come standard. This machine's being left on remote job sites, whatever it is. You can throw this switch and put a lock through there, prevent vandalism, whatever it may be. No one's gonna be able to get in here and mess with the machine while the guys at home, contractors at the house, whatever.
Yeah.
So, rapid charger port. If the customer's needs dictate he needs that rapid charger. So maybe he's running 3 shifts and he needs to charge this machine every 2 hours, whatever it is.
Yep.
Rapid charger port comes standard.
Okay.
All machines. So it doesn't have to be something the machine's got to be ordered with. It's going to be standard on all machines.
It's there always.
And then pattern changeover switch is back here. So it does have pattern changeover.
Okay.
That's kind of the rear of the machine here. We did take those batteries. We got some feedback that said our customers do not want these batteries easy to get to. So obviously it's an expensive item. So you think about people taking catalytic converters and
theft,
things like that off a diesel machine.
Interesting.
So like electric batteries, obviously high value items.
Yeah.
So if we make them easy to get to, they can potentially be removed from job sites, remote locations, things like that. So we did tuck them in here quite a bit to kind of protect them, prevent theft and things like that.
So what is the process to get the battery packs out? Is it coming out the back or is it coming through the cab?
So they'll come out the rear of the machine.
Okay.
So this counterweight actually does a bolt. There's a single bolt right here.
Okay.
Remove that bolt. This entire counterweight will swing open.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So once that counterweight swings open, you then have access to your high voltage batteries. Your 12-volt battery is also down here.
Okay.
So you then have access to all your batteries, serviceable items, things like that. So there are also 10 tie-down points around this machine.
Dang.
So a lot of tie-down points on it.
Yeah.
Just depending on trailer configuration. Obviously, 1.9-ton machine can be transported on a variety of trailers.
Yeah.
All right, so spin around and talk cab for a minute.
Okay.
No different than the diesel cab.
Yeah.
So same cab with a few minor tweaks, obviously, for the electric machines. Display is going to be a little different on this machine. Going to obviously read battery life, not fuel, things like that. So we do offer it in a cab or canopy.
Okay.
Canopy machines will not have air conditioning at this time.
Okay.
So that's the big kind of caveat there. Startup procedure, pretty straightforward. So you're going to turn that key one position. Gauge is going to come to life. You hear the machine beep. Just take that key, act like you're cranking it. Just hold it. You're going to see a blue light over there by your hand. It's going to illuminate. Once that blue light's on, machine is live.
Okay, so you do still crank it over like you're doing a diesel engine.
Correct. So it's still got that same feel about it.
Yeah.
Once that blue light comes on, now all of your DC to DC converters, relays are energized. You can drop that left-hand pod.
So your RPMs, instead of talking about engine RPM, I'm assuming now we're talking about pump RPM.
Motor RPMs. So we're spinning an electric motor.
Yeah.
That's your RPM.
Okay.
All JCB mini excavators will have what we call a safety to go switch. So it's just a safety interlock. It's going to be that top left-hand button there on the membrane keypad. So see, it's got a lock and a joystick.
Yep.
You'll push that, you'll hear the machine beep.
Yep.
This machine is now live, controls are active.
Okay.
So if you were to pull back on your right stick,
wow.
That's what we get. RPM, so like we talked about, that is going to spin that electric motor faster. You hear it idle down there. After 3 seconds of no movement, the machine will actually idle down.
Interesting.
So that's a battery saving feature that's built into the machine.
Yeah.
So as you're sitting there, we are having this conversation, talking about our job that we're doing.
Yeah.
Machine just idles itself down. As soon as you touch the controls.
Interesting. So if I'm not using a function that requires pumping of hydraulics, it's still not gonna...
Correct.
Interesting.
Does have 2-speed, just like the diesel machine.
Okay.
Does have an auto kick down feature, so it will kick down as you turn. Obviously, we don't have foot pedals, so as you're turning, pivoting, it will auto kick down. But yeah, other than that, operation is going to be identical to the diesel machine.
Interesting. I'm curious to get this out and play with it now.
But before we get into that, I want to take a second to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Chevron Lubricants.
These cranes work around the clock for months at a time. If one of these engines ever goes down, it costs more than our reputation. Switching to Delos 600 ADF, it's been a game changer. We've had no issues with clogged DPFs. I mean, no regen lights, no cleaning, no replacements, nothing. This oil goes beyond anything we've ever used. I choose proven protection that keeps our cranes on the job.
I choose Delo 600 ADF.
Really, at a high level, this is kind of an underwhelming review because I really went out there thinking, this is a piece of electric equipment. There's going to be some really unique things about this machine that are going to stand out. And I will say this is kind of where it's a true compliment to how JCB has implemented the electric technology. There really isn't a whole lot to it. It's a very straightforward machine. When you walk up to it, it's like any other 1.9 ton excavator out there. It's not like you're going to have to spend a bunch of time training your people on how to run this thing or how it operates or how to take care of it. The only difference between this and its diesel counterpart is the fact that it's run off of electricity and has batteries instead of having a diesel engine in the back. And that's where we really get into what stood out about this machine is when you turn the key on and just listen to quiet. It's really quiet. All you hear is the electric whirring of motors and some hydraulic fluid moving around.
Listen to the volume that I'm talking. And my videographer was out here a minute ago and he was standing from me to where the bucket is. And still I'm talking at this volume because I'm not having to scream over a little engine going hog wild powering this thing. Instead, it's just, you can hear it, the electric whine behind me. That is the only sound associated with this machine outside of the actual bucket clanking.
It is a game changer to be able to hold a conversation with someone 10 feet, 15 feet away from you without yelling over top of the engine. It's very easy to hear feedback from your labor if you're exposing utilities or doing some delicate piecework where you need to be able to verbally communicate while operating the machine. That just got 10 times simpler. It is so nice not to have the engine screaming behind you in the cab. One of the things that's really unique about this machine compared to its diesel counterpart is the way the controls respond in your hands. The only way I can describe it is it's a very linear feedback that you get from your joysticks. You know, we're so used to a diesel engine where the diesel engine has to keep up with the power demands of the hydraulic system. There's a little bit of a lag that we as operators don't really think about, but it's there, just like it is when you hit the accelerator pedal in your car. There's just this little bit of lag that we're automatically accounting for in our brains as we run these machines. With the electric equipment, you don't really have the lag. The power's instantaneous. As soon as I move my stick, my bucket boom stick is going to do whatever I need it to do, and there's not really any hesitation. And this is where it really gets interesting, is the amount of torque that these electric motors produce. I was able to set myself up with my bucket pretty much up against the cut, and really, this was pretty sticky clay. And it was bogging the machine like it would any other machine. So what I did is I stuck my bucket right there at the edge of the clay and I let the machine idle down because yes, this machine still idles down like its diesel counterpart, except instead of the diesel engine spinning down, it's literally the electric motor just coming down to a softer RPM so you're not wasting energy.
I'm gonna let this idle down. And if you can imagine when we start in a cut in relatively hard material with a diesel machine, that machine is not going to be able to go from dead stop to go. So here we go. Here we're going to start a pull. I already have a full bucket and it just now got up to speed. Like, that's impressive. That's the power of electric motors over diesel motors.
I would almost say at this point the limitation on the power output of the machine isn't the motor driving the system, it's the hydraulics in the system. Now let's talk about the actual training of what you're going to have to do to prep your job site to have one of these machines out there. Again, JCB has made this almost stupid simple. There's literally a plug on the side of the machine. Your machine will come with a 110 power cord that looks like an extension cord you get out of your garage with a unique adapter on one end. You're going to plug it right into the wall, you plug it right into your machine, and that machine will go from absolutely dead to a full charge in about 10 to 11 hours. Now, let's say you want to get a little more aggressive. We can't wait 10 to 11 hours. Now we need to step up to 220. If you have 220 available on site, guess what? Same kind of cord, same charging port. The machine automatically senses the change in voltage. You don't have to flip any switches. You don't have to worry about shorting anything out. You literally plug it in and the machine does the work to figure out what it's being fed. And now your charge time drops to about 4 to 5 hours. But now let's say you need the Mac Daddy of chargers. You need this baby up and running all the time. That's where you step into the 3-phase 480 charger. And now you can charge that thing from dead stop to a full battery in just about 2 to 2.5 hours. So now you have the availability to really top this thing off during lunch breaks throughout shifts, and you can pretty well have that machine running 24/7 outside of your half-hour to hour lunch break where you need to top off the machine and let your operator take a break. It's actually pretty interesting at how viable this technology is for a lot of contractors that are working in, city or municipal projects where you're going to be around power consistently. I can also see this being a super viable product for if you're a demo contractor or something that does work for large retailers where they need to be up and running while you're continuing to work inside the building. Well, now you have a machine that's ultra quiet. You have power readily available on site, so you don't have to worry about charging. And this thing is able to shrink its tracks in so you can fit through a standard 36-inch door, no problem at all. And so this is a really, really nice, compact little machine. But once you're on the job site, you're then in a position that you can expand them out and you have a nice, stable work platform. You have wings on the blade that will also adjust to the width of your track. So if you have them all the way retracted, you can suck your wingtips in and really get skinny on the blade. But the flip side is when you have them extended out, you can pop out those wingtips and now you're able to doze the full footprint of the machine. You also have features like the swing boom, which you're going to find on any other mini excavator, and every other feature that you would pretty much expect to find on a machine this size. Now the cab on this machine was laid out well. It was spacious. It's exactly what you would expect for a mini excavator of this size. It's not like you've got tons of leg room and room to sprawl out all over the cab, but at the same time, I did not feel overly cramped. It was quite comfortable. The controls were very ergonomic in the hands, and they did make a sacrifice on having foot pedals in the machine. And I'm really torn on this because from one aspect, being a bigger guy with, I got size 13 boots, guys, like that's a big old boot to have in a cab of a little mini excavator. And whenever you have those tiny little flip up pedals, half the time your boot's too big to really get a good grip on it to do what you want to do, or you're constantly getting the sole of your boot tangled on that pedal and it's just irritating. But the flip side is there are certain applications where it'd be really nice to have those foot pedals. JCB opted not to go with the foot pedals on this unit, and I have to say, after a lot of contemplation and using the machine yesterday, I think I ultimately am glad they made the call not to put the foot pedals in. On a machine that size, most of the time I'm not going to be in a situation where I'm needing to track and dig or do something with the arm at the same time. And to not have the extra stuff around my feet was actually really convenient. When it comes to runtime, that is the big question on everyone's mind. We've talked about charging, but we haven't talked about runtime. You're going to get about 5 to 5.5 hours of continuous use out of this machine. And this is where I need to just be very clear. That is continuous use. Digging non-stop in hard conditions. That does not mean that if you take this machine out, you go install a sewer line, it sits out there for 45 minutes while you install your pipe, then you bring it back, you trailer it, you take it down the road to another job. You're not going to run out of battery in 5.5 hours. The 5.5 hours refers to actual running dig time, not idle time. So realistically, if you look at telematics data, which this is how these companies are kind of gearing how much power they need to put into the machine, telematics data tells us that's about what a mini excavator spends running during a day, doing actual work. The rest of the time it's either off or it's going to be idling, waiting for your laborer to throw that pipe in the trench. And that's where we do need to be very clear with any electric equipment going forward. You need to view the runtime as actual runtime, not how much of your workday can you utilize the machine. That's not the same thing. Now, I spent about 45 minutes to an hour digging in pretty rough clay, doing a fair amount of dozing with the blade just to get a feel for the machine, and I noticed we used about 15% of the battery. Now, if you start getting in negative temperature conditions, you're going to notice a fairly decent drop-off in battery life, as well as if you start going over about 110 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to also notice that the battery starts to drop off as well. So that is, again, one of the limitations of electric equipment in its current form is you do have to worry about the extreme temperatures. Overall, fantastic little machine. I really enjoyed running it. It's not going to require any special training to your employees. It fires up the exact same way its diesel counterpart does. You literally can throw an operator into this machine And within 30 seconds, he'll be able to familiarize himself with the controls, with the cab layout, and he will be at work with no problem. So it's really implemented in a great system to make this transition period a little easier on the workforce. And I'm excited to see where the industry goes as more electric equipment gets introduced into the marketplace. So as always, I hope this helps you in your business. We'll catch you on the next episode of The Dirt.